Good Monday morning to you. How'd you go? How's your weekend go? Hope your Monday's going good. It's still early yet, right? You still got a lot of chance for it to go get better or get worse. So just hold on tight, right? Just hold on to him, no matter what. So I had a pretty good weekend. I think I'm trying to think right now. I didn't really do anything except work and clean house and take care of Chris. But other than that, I guess I had a good weekend. Did I do something on Saturday? No, I didn't do nothing. I just worked and stayed here. Well, I watched football on Saturday, of course, and then on Patrol Live Saturday night. So Friday and Saturday nights. But anyway, I did do that. I did do something I actually enjoy, and then I did do some work too. Not enough work. It's never enough work, though, right? So you just have to get to a place where you just go, I did all I could did, right? I did all I could did. Just call it a night. Anyway, but I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have great plans this week for Thanksgiving. I got plans on, I think it's Friday for this week, so I think that's the only plans I got. Well, no, I may have other. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you have time. No matter what you do with family, friends, how you choose to celebrate the holiday while you're off work, things like that. I will not participate in Black Friday, just so you know. I don't like to shop even on normal days, but I definitely ain't going to the store. You can go to the grocery store on Black Friday, though, because ain't nobody there. They're all out at the other places, right? But anyway, if you go to like Sprouts or Natural Grocers, you'll be all right. But every place else is like crazy. But no matter what you do, I hope you remember to take time to just be thankful over the holidays, especially this week. I mean, we should be that way every day, though. And I'm learning that every day when I'm thankful every day, it helps change the whole outlook of my day. It changes my attitude. When I begin, and sometimes you have to look harder and really intently and you have to really think about it to find something to be thankful of. But it's always worth it, and it always kind of flips the script on the day, right? It always helps turn things around and first thing it does is change your attitude, because it's so easy to complain about things. It's so easy to get under, and I'm talking about me, maybe it's just me, maybe nobody else in the world, but it's so easy to get under the things that nag at us, that are the things that are hard, the things that feel bad, the things that aren't fun. It's so easy to get under those things and just succumb to it. But when you start looking for something on purpose to be thankful for, and you say, well, I don't like this, but God, I thank you that this, and I don't like the way this went, but God, I thank you that in the middle of that, you were there. I think you could start with thanking Him for still loving you, right? You could start with thanking Him for still giving you peace, for still covering you with grace, no matter what. There's always something to be thankful for, and it may not change your entire circumstance. It may not change the situation at all, but it will change your attitude. It will change your heart, and the situation will be lessened and not have as great of a negative effect on you. I've done it probably a million times. Well, probably not that many. That's a lot. I've done it a lot. How's that? Anyway, so this morning as I was reading, I got up, when I got up, I decided I was going to read Philippians this morning. And so I just sat and just read through, grabbed my first cup of coffee. I read through Philippians, and he starts with grace and peace and ends with grace and peace, and there's just and so much sandwiched in between there. There's so much in this little 4 chapters that is so good. And so he talked about grace and peace be to you. He's writing to the Christians in Philippi. He's saying, I pray that you still abound in the knowledge of God, that you prove things are excellent. He tells them that God who began a work in them was going to complete it no matter what. He reminds them to keep their minds on whatsoever is true, honest, just, all those things. He said, "Be content what state you are. I can do thing. I can. You can do all things through Christ." Uh, he told them to stand fast in the Lord, and let's see. And he told them that God would supply all of their need. And so I thought, wow, that's a lot of stuff in these little four. So in each chapter, kind of, I think I have something marked in each chapter that's just a powerful truths to just hold on to. Maybe we'll just take a week and go through Philippians or something. Maybe we'll do that the rest of the week. I don't know. But anyway, that's a thought, right? I have lots of thoughts, so thank God I don't act on all of them. But anyway, I act on some of them. They're good. But I mean, that's just some powerful stuff in this little letter that Paul wrote to the believers in Philippi. And so then I started thinking, wait a minute. Paul wrote this and he encouraged them while he was sitting in a prison, right? He was in jail. And yet he took the time to write to encourage them. And I get it. He was an apostle, right? He was a leader in the church. He had that kind of pastoral type heart where he wanted to pour into them so that they could grow, so that he could help them stand as leaders and help them continue as believers and help them grow in their faith and help them keep that peace that God put in their heart and walk in the love of God. I get it. He was a leader, but he was the one in jail. What if they had written him a letter? Were they writing him letters to encourage him? Hold on. And so I flipped the script on this on this letter, and I did kind of a role reversal, and I thought, you know what? Had the church written to Paul to encourage him, they would have told him the same things. Think about that a little bit. Let's look at some of the things he said. In chapter 1 and verse 2, he starts out with grace to you and peace from God the Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. Wouldn't the church have started the letter to him the same way? Grace and peace to you, no matter what circumstances you're in, no matter what you're facing today, good or bad, indifferent. It may be doing a good day, it may be a bad day, but whatever it is, maybe somewhere in between. But you have grace, grace and peace of God with you in whatever situation you're in. Right? Maybe they'd have told him that. Maybe they'd have encouraged him with verse 6. He who began a good work in you will complete it until the day of Christ. He's not going to abandon you because you're in jail. God's not going to abandon the work he's doing in you because something went wrong in what you perceive to go wrong in your life, right? You can end up in a bad spot, whether it's your fault or no fault of your own. God's still going to complete the work he started in you. Paul, you're sitting there in a prison. Daniel, you're in the lion's den. Joseph, you're in a pit. God going to complete the work that he started. Yes and amen, right? So no matter where you are, that was an encouraging word. You can still pray. We're still praying for you, Paul, that you will abound more in the knowledge and in discernment, that you'll know the fruits of righteousness that are through Christ, and that you'll do everything to the glory of God, right? They would still encourage Paul maybe to it is God who works in you for his good pleasure, even though he was in a jail. This is what Paul was telling them in the church outside the jail, but they could have told him the same thing. God's still working in you. God doesn't quit working in you just because you mess up. God doesn't quit working for you and in you and through you because something went where you didn't think it was going to go in life. You lose a job, or you gain a job, or you move to the wrong city, or you lose a relationship, or you mess up your finances. No matter what, you get sick. I don't know, whatever your that is. God doesn't abandon you. He continues to do his good pleasure on your behalf. He continues to give you grace and peace. He continues to give you his love. And then they might have even told Paul this. Now this is Paul writing from prison, and he says, "Do all things without complaining and disputing." That's not very nice. That's some hard stuff to say. Couldn't he have said, "Do most things without complaining. Just try not to complain as much." No, Paul told them, and he's the one sitting in prison. He told them, do everything without complaining and disputing, so that you can be blameless children of God in the midst of a crooked generation. But they could have told him that, Paul, it's okay. You're in a tough spot, man, but just don't complain. Do everything you do without complaining and arguing. It'll go better for you all the way around, right? They could have told him, you see a lot of loss. Because Paul told them, I count all things as loss for the excellence of knowing Christ. And the church could have told Paul that, hey, you lost a lot of things, but that's okay. Just change it for knowing God. That's a fair exchange. That's a good exchange. That's a step. That's a switching up change, right? That's an awesome thing to do. They could have told him out of verse 4, chapter 4, verse 1, stand fast in the Lord. Just continue to stand fast, no matter you're in a prison or not. This is Paul in prison telling them to stand fast, but they could have told him, Paul, they could have encouraged him, Paul, stand fast in the Lord. And they could have told him, verse 6, one of our mainstays here in Peace Out, right? Be anxious for nothing, Paul, but in everything by prayer, supplication, with thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving week. With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And what's going to happen? The peace of God, which passes all of your understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ. See, they could have told Paul that same thing. It's okay, you're in a rough spot. But when you still, there's nothing, God doesn't say, You can give me your thoughts and your prayers in any situation except when you're in jail, or except when you're in bankruptcy courts, or except when you go through a divorce, or except when you're sick, or except. There's no exceptions. This verse has no qualifications. Just bring him. Don't be anxious. Bring them to him instead, and he'll fill you with his peace. Right? And they could have told Paul that same thing. It would have worked, right? Paul told the believers at Philippi, whatever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of good report, keep your mind on those things. And couldn't that church tell Paul the same thing? I know your circumstances are rough, man, but keep your mind on the things that are good. Keep your mind on this word that that Paul was busy writing at the time, right? He says further down in verse chapter 4, he says, I can do all things through Christ. Now, Paul is saying that himself, but the church can say that too. We can all do, we can face all things. We can walk through all things. We can get through all things because it's God who gives us strength. And finally, he said, Paul said this to the church that's not in prison. My God will supply all your need according to his riches and glory. But couldn't the church have written Paul the same thing? Hey, Paul, we got you. Now we're going to send you some food. We're going to send you some clothes. We're going to send you some money. I don't know what they sent back then. You know how it is. I'll send you a debit card. I'll put this on your account. Right? I don't know how they did it back then, right? But they could have told Paul, God's going to take care of your needs, Paul. He's going to take care of you according to his riches, not according to what you see in that prison cell, but according to the riches that he has in glory. Man, that's awesome. So they could have told Paul the very things that he was telling them to encourage them. Those could be turned around. So I encourage you today to tell yourself all these same things. The peace of God. Let the peace of God rule in your heart. Give God your anxious thoughts. He's got you. He's going to complete the work he started in you. Right? Paul's no longer in prison. The church of Philippi don't even know about that, right? Don't know where they are or what they're doing right now. But the people who he was writing to are no longer there. But these truths still hold true. Since God has begun a work in you, whoever is watching this, he's not going to abandon you. He's going to finish it. He's not going to start something. Is it in Proverbs? It says a king doesn't start to build something without looking at the cost first, because he doesn't get halfway through the project. God doesn't get halfway through projects. He knew what the cost was. He already paid that cost before he said, let there be light. He paid that cost so that you could walk in the peace of God, so that you could be covered with the grace of God, even now, so he could finish the work he started in you today. Trust him for today. Trust his grace. Trust his peace. Give him your thoughts. Give him your anxious thoughts. I got a lot of them. And roll them over on him and let his peace reign in your heart today. Peace out. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.